Hello, am I audible to all?
Yes.
A warm welcome to you all, guys. Hello, myself Sishijiri Sharma, Media and PR team of GDSC Assam Engineering College. This is our first session of the Compose Camp on App Development. Before we start our program, I would like to introduce Mr. Pragyan Bhartas, App Development Lead of GDSC AEC. Praganda, are you here?
Yes.
And Rahul Kumar Shah, Tech Coordinator of GDSC AEC. Rahul da. They are going to take forward this program, expecting a huge support and an active participation from you all. So without wasting our time, let's start the program on Android development. Praganda, it's up to you.
Yes, thank you, Shishir. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to this first session of Compost Camp. And I'm Bragan Bhardwaj, and I'm your facilitator for Compost Camp. And along with me, there is Rahul Kumar Shah, who will help me carry on the session. So let's start. So let's talk about Android. So nowadays, Android is everywhere, right? Even if you see your own cell phones, all you could see are mobile apps. You use those apps for purposes like entertainment, shopping, daily planning, booking movie tickets, etc. Now, if all the apps from your smartphone are deleted, then your smartphone would be of no use. If I take an example of Zomato, Zomato has both its own website as well as its mobile app, but it will be any rare case when you have order from the website rather than the mobile app. You always go for the mobile app because it makes it easier for you to access. And among the majority used mobile apps, Android apps are the ones. Android has occupied an important market share in the app market because Android support devices are relatively economical and readily available, which makes them a desired choice. And if we go by statistics also, there are currently 2.5 billion active Android users. So in nowadays today's world, Android development is a necessary skill that you should have or you should learn to build a better portfolio or your resume, or even if you want to contribute in tech industry in your future. So let in this Android app development program, we will basically talk about use Kotlin, which is a programming language, and Jetpack Compose. So why Kotlin? You can use other languages like Java also. Java is also used for Android development. But Kotlin is nowadays used for Android development purposes. We'll see why. So first one is write less code and be happy. Of course, we want to write less code, and we don't want to write excess code and get confused in our own code, right? So Kotlin codes are uh, very simpler, and they're used to avoid errors, and they're easier to implement and understand than Java. Java is an old language and it is much more complex than Kotlin. Earlier developers used to use Java for Android development, but they have moved to Kotlin. Also, Kotlin offers both combination of both object-oriented programming as well as functional programming, whereas Java offers only object-oriented programming. So if you want to write a single line program, like if you want to print hello world, in Java you have to create the classes to execute the program, but in Kotlin you can create a function, main function, and directly execute the program. Kotlin is much safer in Java. Kotlin's type streams system is aimed at eliminating the danger of null references. So what null references are that if any one of you are familiar with Java programming, you may have come across null pointer exception. So this is a very common exception which you will encounter if you have run any Java program. And Java doesn't deal with it quite easily. But Kotlin helps uses its modules and utilities to deal with the null pointer exception, and therefore it's much more safer in Java. And lastly, its popularity. Kotlin has been adopted by several big organizations like Pinterest, Netflix, Uber, and many more. And Google has declared Kotlin as its official language for Android development. And therefore, if you are new to Android development and you want to start your Android development journey, I'd recommend you to start it with Kotlin. Now let's talk about Jetpack Compose. So Android Jetpack is a suite of libraries to help developers follow the best practices, reduce the boilerplate code, and write code that works on all versions of Android. And Compose is basically a modern toolkit from Android Jetpack which helps to build native UI. So Jetpack Compose is a modern way to build UI for Android apps. With Compose, you will write your user interfaces with Kotlin. So you can code the functionality and you can also code the look of your app with the same programming language. And why Jetpack Compose is better? Because it also uses less code and it is easier, simpler and easier to maintain. Uh, this describes your UI and Compose takes care of the rest. Jetpack Compose is basically uses the concept of declarative UI, where you set the functions of your components, and you basically tell the components how to act and how to look. So you can build your own components according to you. And also accelerates development. It is compatible with all your existing code, so you can adopt when you wherever you want. And also Android Studio supports Jetpack Compose, and it uses utilities to build a safer and simpler projects on Jetpack Compose. Also, Jetpack Compose is very powerful because it helps you create beautiful apps with direct access to Android platform. It has various utilities and modules which helps you to build various components with much rich and UI. It supports material design, dark theme animations, and many more. So let's talk about a Compose Camp. So Compose Camp is basically a community organized event where everyone who are interested in Android development or want to start their journey of Android development get together, and we provide you all the resources that you require to start your Android journey. And these resources are recommended by official Google developers. And these resources are well maintained, and each course in these resources are very descriptive. So you can start with those resources for your Android development journey. And how this Compose Camp is different from Android Study Jam. So if you've attended any if you have attended any previous Android GDSC sessions, you might have come across the Android Study Jams. In Android Study Jams, basically we're introduced to Android development using Kotlin and XML files. But in Compose Camp, we'll basically focus on using Compose to create more rich and UI for your app. So this is the difference between Compose Camp and Android Study Jam. So what to expect in this Compose Camp? If you're a beginner and if you are new to Android app development, this is the perfect place for you. We'll provide you every resource that you need to start your own Android journey. And even if you're intermediate who has experience on Android development, then also you can start this course, because you can start with how to use Compose and how to use other features of Compose such that you can make your app look better. And in this session, of our session of Compose Camp, today we'll basically introduce you to Android Studio, how to the basic features of Android Studio. Then you will be introduced to some Kotlin fundamentals that are prerequisite for your Android development journey. And at last, we'll show you a simple app which was built using Compose. Program overview. So basically, I'm sorry, now is it visible?
Yes, it is.
I'll introduce you the course that you can carry on. So if you go to this website, Android Basics with Compose, it is available in developer.android.com. You can find some units which are introduced already in this course. So you can go through unit 1, and in each unit there are different pathways. So you can go through each pathway to start your Android journey. In this session, we'll give you some basic idea that are related already given in pathway 1, that is some fundamentals of Kotlin. Then we'll also introduce you to Android Studio, where you will see how to set up the Android Studio and what is an emulator or connect your device to an Android Studio. And also at last, we'll show you an app which was built using Compose. So you can definitely go to this site and start your Android development journey. Now, what if you complete all those? What's in for you? So if you complete these courses, you'll basically get these badges, which will be put in your Google developer profile. So if you don't have a Google developer profile, I'll recommend you to create one. So you can go in this site, the developers.google.com, and create your own Google developer profile. So Google Developer Profile is a way of learning new Google technologies. It is a place where you can showcase your achievements and badges that you get on completing any Google course. You can also use your Google Developer Profile link to a resume to show your development skills and achievements. So you should basically create one profile, and you can get those badges on your profile. So in this beginner track, basically I showed you the these courses that you can go through. And in this session, these courses, there are 4 units. And also prerequisites for your to start this course is that you have basic computer literacy and basic math skills and nothing else. You can just start your course with no programming language, no prior programming concepts, and you can just go start understand this course very well. So in this session, we'll basically focus on Unit 1, and where you will be introduced to Kotlin fundamentals, some basic concepts. Then you will see how to set up Android Studio, run it on a device or emulator. And at last, you will see a basic app, a birthday greeting app, which is built using Compose. And there are other units, which are Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4, and this will be focused on the upcoming sessions. And how to navigate through the course. So if you have no programming experience, you can just go through each pathway of each unit in order, since the concepts are built on each other. And if you have some programming experience, you can just keep the units where they're focused on Kotlin concepts, and you can just start on the units where they have introduced the Jetpack Compose. So it's up to you how you want to learn the course. And also, while you carry on the course, you will see there are some practice problems that you should definitely attempt to increase your knowledge. And also, there are some open-ended projects. So in this course, if you go through, there are some code labs where you will be where you will be introduced some basic apps. But there are some other projects which you can build by your own to increase your knowledge. So you should definitely check those out. So now let's talk about Android Studio. So Android Studio is basically an advanced toolkit which allows you to develop your Android apps more easily. You can also develop your Android apps in other IDEs like VS Code or Eclipse, but Android Studio gives you all the facilities that you require to build an Android app. So this is the official site for Android Studio. You can download the latest version of the Android Studio and get started. You have a proper documentation how to download the Android Studio. And also, if you don't understand the documentation, if you want to see a video, you can just go to YouTube and search how to download and set up Android Studio, and you'll get a bunch of YouTube videos which will explain you properly how to install Android Studio. So when you install Android Studio, and the first page that you will see will be different from this one that you are seeing, because I have already created some projects in Android Studio. But if you click on next, you will definitely see this page where you have to choose one activity. So activities are basically the first page or a first screen that you encounter while you open your app. So since we will create an empty compose activity. So you choose this empty compose activity and click on next. After clicking on next, you will have to create the name of your project. You can give any name of your choice. Suppose my first Android app. Now, while you type the name, it will automatically give a package name. No, so the package name is how your folders are arranged in your Android Studio. Now, if you deploy your app to any Android store or other platform, you have to have a unique package name. It should be different from other projects, because if you have same package name with other projects, it will create conflict. So try to have a unique package name. For now, you don't have to worry about this, because it will just create a package name for you while you type the name. And then next, you have to set up your location where you want to store your project. You can choose the C drive, or you can also choose your D drive, etc. But now language. Since we are using Compose, Compose is only supported in Kotlin. So you can't choose between Java or Kotlin. But if you create an empty activity that we came across, you can choose between Java and Kotlin. But since we are about to use a Compose activity, you can only choose Kotlin. The important thing is this minimum SDK. Try to select the minimum SDK that is present in this drop-down list, because what it refers is, now it is API 21 is selected. It means that the project you will build, the app you will build, will run on the Android devices which have Android API 21 or greater than this. So now, if you choose your Android API or minimum SDK as suppose API 30, so it will basically run on those devices which have API 30 or greater than those. So it will not be available on the API which are lesser than this API 30. So try to choose the minimum one. And if you choose API 20, you will get this message that your app will run on approximately 98.8% device. So these are the steps. Then you have to just click finish. Then after clicking finish, you can see there's a Gradle build. Now, since I have used Android Studio before, because it will not take much time for me, but when you use for a first time, it will take you some time. And this will basically depend on your device properties, what device you are using. If you have SSD or if your SSD or if you have HD, it will depend on your device features. So basically, while you open this app, after Gradle build, you will see something like this. And what Gradle is, Gradle Android Studio is Gradle. So Gradle is basically an advanced build toolkit that compiles all your app resources and source code and packages them into an Android app bundles. It is basically a faster way of providing all the modules, answers, and source code that you will require to run the app. And after your Gradle build is complete, you will see something like this. You in the left you have your project pane, in the middle you have your code section, and in the right you will see your UI section. Now this screen may be different for you depending upon your version of Android Studio that you have installed. So now let's look at one by one. So in this project section, you will see all the folders and subfolders that are required to build this code. So what Gradle build does is that it creates the required folders and files that are required by you to run the app without any just directly run the app. So you can run this app directly without any modifying or anything. And when you create your own version of the app, what you does is that you have to just modify this code section, and you have to modify your UI section. You don't have to write anything from scratch. So in this subfolders, users have to see this folder .com.example.myproject_app. So this was the package name that you have encountered before. So this contains the main activity.kt. So kt is the extension for Kotlin code file. So it contains the code file of the Kotlin language. And other important folder is a resource folder. So this resource folder contains 3 subfolders: drawable, mipmap, and values. So this drawable folder is one where you keep your images, your videos, or any sound recording that you want to use in your app. Basically, when you want to use your any image or a video or any sound recording in your app, you just keep those resources in this folder. And mipmap is the folder where the launcher icon and other resources are present. And in values, the colors, the strings and themes that are already given to you by Android Studio where the Gradle build was running. So you can just import your other own colors bomb, and you can just edit here. And also you can import your own strings and you can edit here. So these are the things that you need to understand. You don't have to go through every of them because it is not important. Now let's see the code section. In the code section, I'll not go through by every line because you don't have you have to go through Kotlin first. But I will. But if you see this onCreate function, this is the place where your app will start. This is like the main function for from any programming language. Like the compiler starts with the main function and executes every line by line, right? So this is like the main function for Android development on create function. So when you run the app for the first time, it will start here and it will run every code that is written here. And the set content function that basically sets your basic layout that you will see when you first run the app. And these composable functions and what Compose does is uses each component and creates a function for each component. So this container or the UI components are used or created by these composable functions. So to create another container or another UI component, users have to create another composable functions. So let's not go very deep into this now. In the right side, you have this UI section. So if before running the app, here you can see how your app looks like. Here you can only see the hello Android string, right? you can't see the whole screen of your app, because in code section it is by default this code is run. You can also change this by changing the view of your default preview. So since there is only one composition function which uses a text, so you can see that component which uses which displays hello Android. So these are the important components that you need to know. Also, every time you run an app, you need not have a device or Android device to run. You can use an emulator. So when you first start your Android Studio, you will have this place as blank because you will not have any emulator installed. So to install an emulator, you just go to this tools option, then click on device manager, and you will see this section. But this section may be different for you because it will depend on the version of the Android Studio that is installed in your device. And for me here, it already shows an Android emulator, which is Pixel 2 API because I've already installed. But for you, it will be blank. So you just click on create device. Here you can choose any model. Just try to choose from the top of the models. Then click on next. And here you have to choose the version of the Android that you like on your device or the Android emulator. You can have many Android versions, but these are the recommended, and you can choose any one of them. Also, you have to download this version, so it will depend on the size will depend on what version you have chosen. So try to choose any one of these and then click next, and your Android emulator will be ready. You can also connect your device or your Android device to this Android Studio by USB cable. Just in your settings, turn on the debugging option, and Android Studio will automatically detect your device. So these are the important things that you need to know about Android Studio. And when you start the Android journey, and with time you will get to know every function or other utilities or other importance. But for now, these are the only things that you need to know. Now I would like to ask Rahul to show you some basic Kotlin fundamentals. Thank you.
Propaganda.
Yes.
Propaganda, we have to take some screenshots for our reference. So,
No, it is not over. Rahul also show some. It will be in the last section.
okay.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Hello everyone, myself Rahul. I am going to show you all some basics of Kotlin programming language. As Pragyan already showed you the course on Jetpack Compose, you can go to the unit 1 of the course. You can find there pathway 1. There you can find the Kotlin basics from the programming language. They have discussed the basics in a very detailed and simple way. So in this session, I am going to discuss some of the basics. So for practice, you can go to Kotlin Playground. So just type Kotlin Playground, and the first website kotlinlang.org. You can go there, and you basically start practicing there. So we know that every program starts with a main function. So in Kotlin, the start of a function we use with a keyword fun. So we write fun main means the main function, and inside the block we can write anything that we want to implement in the program. So in Kotlin, basically for printing, we have two functions. One is print function and other is println. So if I want to write a hello world program, I will use the print function, and simply in the quotations I will write hello world. We will simply print the hello world. If I want to print hello in other line and world in another line, then I can use the println function. So println, then I can use print world. It basically shows hello and world both in other line because of the use of println function. Now let us discuss how means you can declare variables in Kotlin. In Kotlin there are basically two types of data. One is mutable and another is immutable. Mutable data are those which we can change during the runtime, and immutable are those which we cannot change. So declaring of immutable data, we can use keyword val. Val means value simply, and for mutable we can use var. Var means variable. So let us declare an integer. Val. Suppose the name of the integer is a, then we can write a and then a colon and simply write the data type. In this case, it is integer. So and then we can assign the value. Suppose 10. So is the basic syntax to declare a integer value. This val is the keyword, and then a means the name of the variable. Int denotes the data type, and equals to 10. It means we are initializing it with 10. We can also do it implicitly, means we can directly set this value as 10, and Kotlin will automatically decide which data type we have provided. So if suppose I have written here a string, then name of the string is str, type string, and suppose I have given the value GDSC, then I can simply print for getting the values of the variables. We can use the dollar operator, dollar str the name of the variable, and then we can simply type the message. So str gdsc. If I run this, it shows gdsc is awesome. We can manipulate these variables in many ways. Suppose I want to print the gdsc in capitals, then I can use the to uppercase function. I will simply write the name of the variable, then dot operator to upper case. Uppercase. Now it simply prints GDSC is awesome and GDSC in caps, because we use the function to uppercase. Now then we can move to the nullable and non-nullable types. So in Java, there is a error, means exception called null pointer exception. So, but in Kotlin we have something called uh, nullable data, means we can explicitly declare that a data is nullable or not. By default it is of type non-nullable, but suppose well str of type string. If I want to declare initialize its value as null, it shows an error that null cannot be a value of a non-null type. Means by default the type is of the string is of non-nullable type. So to make it nullable, simply I add a question mark operator after the data type. We are not getting an error, means we can change the non-nullable type to nullable by adding simply a question mark operator after the data type. Next move to conditionals. I think everyone knows about if else statements. So suppose we have a very value called a and value as 5. And if a equals to 5, then print value is 5. Else we can print value is not 5. What it does is, after writing the keyword if in the parenthesis, we provide the condition. If this condition is made true, then this block will be executed, and if not, then this block will be executed. So in our case, we have set the value of a equal to 5. Then we check that if a is equal to 5, we have used double equal operator. It means it compares the two values. So if a equals to 5, then print value is 5. Let us run. So here we can see our value of a was 5. Then this condition was true. Then this block was implemented. If we change the value of 5 to 10 and this condition is false, then this block will be implemented and it shows value is not 5. Now, if what if we have more than one conditions? We can use mm, else if ladder. So if a equal to 5, then print value is 5. If else if else if a is equal to 10, print value is 10. Or and if the condition is not met, we can add another else print none. Let's run this. So what it does is, uh, if a equal to 5, then it will print the value is 5. Else if a is equal to 10, then it will print value is 10. And if both the conditions doesn't met, then it will go to else block and it will print none. So when I pass the value of a as 10, then it should print value is 10. So it shows value is 10. If I change the value of a to 5 and run it, then it shows value is 5. And if I change to say 10, 8, then it should show none. Basically, this is how if else if network ladder works. So to we can alternatively use as a when, which is similar to switch key statements. So we have to use a keyword when, and then we have to pass the value. So when a equal to 10, print value is 10. If a equal to 5, print value is 5. Else print none. So here we can see that I have used the keyword when and then passed a variable that will be the condition. So in our case, it is a. So if the value of a will be 10, then we have used then this block will be implemented. If the value of a will be 5, then this block will be implemented. And if none of them, then the else block will be implemented and it will print none. So in this case, the value of a is 8, none, neither 10 nor 5. Then it should return none. If I change the value of a to 10, then it should print 10. Value is 10. If I change to 5, then it should return 5. Okay. Then moving to loops. So for loops, for I in 0 up to say 6, print I. Here I have used for loop. So for, then inside the parenthesis we use I. I is used for every iteration. It is basically like a counter. So for I in 0 to 0 dot 6, what is mean is uh, I starts from 0 and goes up to 6. So for every iteration, the value of I will be incremented by 1. So for I in 0 to 6, I have for every iteration I have printed a value I. So let us run this. It prints 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Means 0 to 6. Now if I want to increment the value with 2, then I have to write step 2. It will basically increment the value of I in every iteration by 2. So it will print 0, 2, 4 and 6. Now moving to while loop. I will create a variable called count or I, you can say, and I with 0 while I is less than equal to 6. Print I, and I will increment the value by 1. And so I have to use this as variable. Print ln. Here we can see that I have used while loop. So while keyword is used. Then inside the parenthesis, I have used the condition for I less than equal to 6. Means the loop will continue until I is greater than 6. Means the loop will continue for every values of I less than or equal to 6. Then I will print I, the value of I, and increment I by 1 in every loop. So it shows 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then let us see arrays. How to declare and use arrays in Kotlin. So we can declare arrays by suppose name of the arrays fruits. Then I will use a function called array of, and I will give the elements of the array inside the parentheses. So suppose mango is an element, then apple is an element, grapes. So these are the elements of the array. Now the fruits is the name of the array, and we have used array of function to insert the elements into the array. So mango is an element, apple is an element, and grapes is an element. Suppose we want to see the elements, so we can do it using the for loop. Or suppose the element, I am assuming the elements, each element says item in fruits. Print item. So we have used item as element for every element in fruits. Fruits is the array. We will print the item. Means we will print the value of the element. So it prints mango, then apple, then grapes, which are the elements of the array. In this way, we can implement the arrays in Kotlin. Now, let us see functions, how to declare and use functions in Kotlin. Basically, function in Kotlin starts with the keyword fun. Unlike other languages, many other languages, we use return type in the first word. But in Kotlin, we use the keyword fun, and then we give the name. Suppose I want to create a function to add two numbers. Then I will, suppose I am giving the name as add. You can give anything. Then I will provide some arguments or parameters. And a colon, and then return type of the function. And I will add the function body. I have to operate A and B with some means addition. So I will simply return A plus B. And I will call it in here print add suppose 5 comma 5 5 comma 4, and I will run. So fun is the keyword of declaring a function. Then add is the name of the function. Name can be anything. And after that, in the parenthesis, I have given two parameters. A is of type integer, and then B, which is also type of integer. So it will, while calling the function, it will accept two integer values, a and b, and after that this int depicts the return type of the function, that what type of value the function will return. When calling the function, I have called the function inside the print function add 5 comma 4. Add is, it is the function name add. Then I have given two integer values 5 comma 4. Here 5 will be a and 4 will be b. So basically it returns sum of 5 and 4. We have here returned a plus b, so it will return 5 plus 4. Now if we run the function, we can see 5 plus 4, it returns 9. So basically in this way we can implement functions in Kotlin. So these are few basics of Kotlins we can start with, and for more we can go to the we can go to this pathway. They have shown in a very detailed and simple way how you can use functions, how you can modify your program print, and how you can, if you encounter any errors, then how you can fix it. And they have given some exercises which you can implement by yourself.
Birthday with a name and the uh, sender's text. So you have to just create two text here. So if I just create another text function, and this text function creates an input that was given in the given here given in the greeting function argument in the greeting function. So you can give another argument, suppose from type string. So from is a variable, and from is a variable, and it is of type string. So you can just display the variable here. So now if I give another variable, another in argument, suppose so to rebuild this preview, you can just sometimes it doesn't rebuild automatically. So just you can click here the refresh button, and it will take some time. Okay, now here also you have to pass the argument, because the greeting function takes two argument. So you can see GDS also displays, but it is overlapping in hello Android. This is because we have just added the text. We have not defined how this text will appear. It will be in the row wise or in column wise. So you can so you can just create a container for this text. So if I use column, and since all these are functions, sometimes you can see those errors that these are not imported. So you have to import all the packages for all functions, right? So if you see this, just click hover over the keyword and just press alt enter. So it will automatically import your function. So now these texts are placed in a column container, and if I now run this, so you can see these textures, one text is shown below the other. You can also use you can also change the font size. For that you have to use modifier. You can just use modifier, then give modifier dot padding, or you can set a font size. Suppose let's say the font size suppose 24.sp. So sp is just a unit for size of font, which is scalable pixels. So if I now around this app, you can see the size of hello Android has been changed. So these are some of the concepts that you have to use. Now this function is used for text only, right? So you for image you have to create another composable function that stores the image, and for this you can go through this compose course, and here everything is presented very in every detail, and you can go through this each code lab, try to appear see the video as well, and try to take the code lab. So you can be after the end of this course you can just build an app like that. So for our next session, we would like to give you some talks. You have been introduced to some Kotlin fundamentals. So there will quiz on the some Kotlin fundamentals on our next session. So just go through the course that I introduced to you, and go through the pathway one of unit one, and you will be just ready for your quiz for the next session. And also try to build your own birthday card app that I just showed you. And for this, just you have to go through this unit pathway 3 of unit 1. So that will be all for today. I hope you liked it, and I hope you have got to learn something.
So if any of you have any questions to the guys, you can post it in the chat section.
So Flutter and Kotlin are used for different purposes. You can use Flutter if you want to build cross-platform apps, like if you want to build an app that runs both on your Android as well as iOS. But with Kotlin, you can build native apps that will run only on your Android, not on iOS. So both of these has different purposes. So you can use any of this according to your choice. Can these apps run on any Android versions? Yes, as same when I showed you the minimum SDK, right? So you have to choose a minimum SDK so that your app can write on any Android version that is greater than those SDK. So if you choose the minimum SDK, you can run on any Android version. What is the scope of Android dev in the perspective of internships? Internship, if you go through LinkedIn or any other websites like Internsala, you can see there are various internship opportunities on app development. Most of the companies or startup companies, they require an app developer to build app for their products. Every product-based companies nowadays requires an app for their growth, so it has a lot of scope in internships.
Does anyone else have any questions?
What about something like React Native? Yes, React Native and Flutter are used to build cross-platform apps. You can also use React Native. If someone who has very good concept on JavaScript, they can go for React Native. But if someone has already familiar with programming languages like Java or Kotlin, they can go for Flutter to build cross-platform apps. So React Native also with React Native also can be build apps and also websites. Since web-based stream apps are rising in popularity, does this course help with that? Yeah, so with this course, you will definitely have a very good concept on Kotlin as well as Compose, and you can build variety of apps on your own after completing this course. And this course is basically recommended by top level certified Google developers. So everything is present in detail in this course. So you just go through this course and you'll be in a perfect way for app development.
Okay, so I guess all the queries are done. So let's have a final screenshot. If everyone could turn on their cameras, it will be very helpful. Rest of you also, if you could turn on your camera, it will be best. So it was a great session with all of you guys. So I'm taking the screenshot. Everyone, smile. Okay, it was a good one. So let's meet you guys on the next session. A summary of the event and all the links will be providing it on our socials. And if you have any doubt, you can either message us on our socials or yes, message us on our socials. We will try to get in touch with as many as we could. And also, we'll also have our mail ID. You can directly mail us for any type of queries. Great. So, meet you guys in the next session. Bye bye.